Only looking at the specs of the Redmi K20 Pro would lead you to believe that it's a Xiaomi Mi 9 killer, especially in regards to the camera. But if we look a little bit deeper at the specs of the Redmi K20 Pro versus the Mi 9, we can see that Xiaomi had to cut corners in some more subtle ways. So in today's video, we're gonna go ahead and do an in-depth comparison between the Xiaomi Mi 9's camera and the Redmi K20 Pro. Hey guys, my name is Mitchell. If you're new to my channel, I make videos about the tech I use. Before we start, I want to thank everyone that uses my affiliate links. As always, without your continued support, we couldn't keep the channel going. Also, big shout out to my Telegram community. If you're not part of it, you should definitely join. It's one of the best tech communities online. Also, I've had a lot of requests for more written content. So if you're not a native English speaker or you just need some simple written content to go ahead and supplement this video, go ahead and check out the description down below. Enough talking, let's just hop into this. Now, if you guys didn't see my in-depth low light comparison video between the Xiaomi Mi 9 and the Pocophone F1, you should go ahead and check that video out right up here. But essentially, we could see that the Mi 9 was slightly better than the Pocophone F1 in night mode. But today, I wanted to see how the triple camera setup of the K20 Pro compares to that of the Xiaomi Mi 9. Unlike a lot of my other camera comparison videos, which are a little bit more everyday user oriented, I wanted this one to be more controlled. So let's hop over to the computer and see how they compare. Okay, so for this comparison, we shot all of these photos in the exact same conditions for both cameras. The photos with the Redmi K20 Pro camera are watermarked there down below. When we zoom in, this is the ultra wide angle. And this was inside in pretty good lighting. And I was sitting in a chair, and as you guys can see for both of these images, the Redmi K20 Pro is tangibly worse in anything but really, really good light. And I would even say that the light that I took this in was pretty good. There's not as much detail in the text of the Pocophone box for the Redmi photo as there is on the Mi 9 photo. And that was just with the ultra wide. Next photo was shot with the identical sensor for both cameras, which is the Sony IMX586. And this is shot in the normal mode that includes pixel binning, not the 48 megapixel mode. And when we zoom in, we can see that for both of these images, they look, at least to me, nearly identical. Maybe we have a little bit more contrast on the K20 Pro, but I think that we can kind of sum that up into the signal processing or the image processing of it. Next is the telephoto, and if we zoom into the text on both of these devices, if we're equally zoomed in for each of them, again, these look pretty similar, at least to me. And if we kind of zoom back out for just kind of the overall color reproduction for both of these images, it's quite similar. Let me know what you guys think down below. We might have slightly punchier colors on the Redmi, but I'm not seeing that big of a difference. And like I said, this is in pretty good light. This is not what I would call a low light example. Now, when the subject matter begins to get lower light is when we start to see a bit more of a difference. And you guys will see what I mean. So this is lower light, and the Mi 9 still holds up pretty well. Low light, ultra wide. We do have some smoothing that's going on, but it's tangibly and what I would say significantly better than what we have on the Redmi K20. All I did was close the blinds in this. We still had a decent amount of ambient light in the room, but the K20 really begins to kind of fall apart when it starts to get darker. And this is a trend that we see throughout this comparison. Now, lower light, and we have the main IMX sensor. And in this comparison, we see more handshake for the Redmi. It means that it's holding the shutter open for a longer period of time to get more light in. If we zoom out, the box for the K20, the purple still looks more vibrant and more purple in low light with the Mi 9. And we'll go ahead and check the telephoto cameras out. Now, this I think comes down more to software. The Xiaomi Mi 9 chose to underexpose the image and give us a faster shutter speed, less motion blur. The Redmi K20 Pro decided to give us a slower shutter speed, brighter image, but that introduced more handshake. This, a lot of it just comes down to software, and it's something that can totally be kind of worked around depending upon your situation. But I didn't really want to test that with this. I wanted to test something that was a little bit more just out of the box and what most users could kind of expect. Now, this wouldn't be a camera comparison if it wasn't for the portrait mode. Not the most flattering images of my girlfriend necessarily. Just to kind of keep in mind, I turned all of the skin smoothing and the beautification off. It's also worth noting that on both of these devices, you can go ahead and choose the f-stop, which will essentially change the amount of artificial blur that is introduced into the image. For all of these pictures, I chose the exact same f-stop, so hopefully we would have the exact same amount of artificial blur. Again, no beautify modes, no nothing. One thing that really stood out, at least to me, was on both these devices, we see an excellent job for the hair and edge detection, but it does look just a tad more natural in regards to the blurring of the background on the Mi 9. The K20 Pro, I think this could just mostly be software, but we can see here in my girlfriend's hair, it just literally gives her a haircut. It literally cuts her hair off. Because this is software-based, this is stuff that could definitely change, obviously, in software. Now, something else that I noticed, and again, this has to do more with signal processing and kind of software, is the skin tones and the balance of the skin tones on the Mi 9 just look the smallest amount better. In regards to reproducing accurate skin tones, the Redmi K20 makes her look more yellow, whereas the Mi 9 looks more kind of natural and tan. And here we were playing around with some of the different apertures or the different amounts of artificial blur, as I mentioned to you. And when we tone the artificial blur amount or the amount of artificial blur down for both of these cameras, we do see a marked improvement in overall performance, but still I have to say that I prefer the skin tones for the Xiaomi Mi 9. They just look more natural, less yellow. Her lipstick looks more vibrant. And the edge detection on both of them, when you do turn the f-stop down to like a 4 on both of them, does get better. We see that there's less hair that's getting chopped off, and it does a pretty good job at sensing the depth in the image and reproducing it accurately. Now for what you guys have all been waiting for, the selfie camera comparison. I'm shooting this on my balcony, super bright out. Again, trying to get equal amounts of blur with the f-stop, and I was truly expecting that the Xiaomi Mi 9 would probably get me a worse photo because we have a tempered glass screen protector which covers the camera, but I don't see a great deal of difference between these two, to be honest with you. There isn't much unintended beautifying of my beard or my mustache. I look just as ugly as I ever do. And if you guys notice, I'm wearing the Sabit E12 headphones. I'm going to be publishing a full review on those for you guys this week and a direct comparison between them and the Xiaomi Mi AirDots Pro. And you're going to go ahead and want to click the subscribe button if you're looking at getting either of these. Okay, now we just have some normal broad daylight photos for you guys. This is with the ultra wide, and you can really see how dramatic the ultra wide is for both of these. In regards to the color recreation and color representation, I don't see that big of a difference. Maybe on the K20 there's a little bit more of a purple tinge in the white buildings than what we have on the Mi 9. And here we go for the non-ultra wide picture. Again, this was shot with the normal K20 Pro camera, which is the Sony IMX568. And I have slightly bluer skies with the Mi 9, but let me know what you guys think is the better looking photo in the comment section down below. Here for the next one, I wanted to compare their telephoto cameras. And at least in broad daylight here, I'm not really seeing that big of a difference. I might have a little bit more detail in the Mi 9, but it's at this amount of magnification. But at this amount of magnification, I would say it's negligible. Just one photo to wrap this up. We have the on-ramp by my house. And in regards to dynamic range, looking at the details underneath this bridge, we're not seeing a colossal difference for you guys. I'll do a whole separate one about the 48 megapixel mode. I haven't seen that big of an improvement with the 48 megapixel mode when I reviewed the Mi 9. But let me know what you guys think of this camera comparison in the comment section down below. Let's go back up top. Okay, so as you guys could see, the differences between the K20 Pro and the Mi 9 are not that much. They're definitely tangible, but just like in photography equipment that even I use, the difference between the two of them really starts to become apparent when things get lower in light. As you guys could see with my demonstrations in a controlled environment, the K20 Pro is having to hold the shutter open for a longer period of time or basically record more light. So it's introducing more noise into the image and more handshake and blur. Neither the K20 Pro or the Mi 9 have optical image stabilization. So that is going to ultimately kind of be a bigger limiting factor for both of these devices because they are limited to how long they can take the image for before introducing a lot of noise. Is the difference between the K20 Pro and the Xiaomi Mi 9 cameras that different? I would go ahead and say no. But if you want the best camera experience possible, the Mi 9 is still tangibly better and it becomes more apparent in low light. Now I know people are going to tell me to go and try Gcam, and I have been looking for Gcam on the K20 Pro now since I got it. I tried to get a working Gcam port from the Mi 9 SE, and it was not consistently working for me. One thing though is that no matter what the software does, we're still going to have hardware limitations. So even with Gcam, if I compare Gcam on the Mi 9 versus Gcam on the K20 Pro, the Mi 9 is still going to be superior. So at the end of the day, for I would say most consumers, The K20 Pro is a totally acceptable camera experience. It is inferior to that of the Mi 9, but the Mi 9 is really encroaching on like that true flagship camera experience, like something that we would get from, let's say, the Google Pixel, or it's definitely not as good as Huawei, but at least in daylight photos, I think that the difference between the Huawei, like Mate 20 per se, and the Xiaomi Mi 9 is much closer. So for daylight or even really sunset images, I think people are going to be pretty happy with the K20 Pro. There's other reasons to buy the Mi 9 over the K20 Pro, and that's coming in a later video. But being that I am a photographer of 15, 16 years, and I do photography professionally here in Vietnam, and I've been doing it on and off since I was 16 years old, I would say that this is the area that I can really speak with a lot of confidence on. In regards to the background blur and the portrait mode, I think that the portrait mode on the K20 Pro is going to get significantly better with software updates. That's something that Xiaomi can definitely do. And with how powerful the Snapdragon 855 processor is, I think that if anything, we're going to see the K20 Pro just continuing to get better as it ages. So if you guys enjoyed that video, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys want to see more videos about the K20 Pro, go ahead and click or tap right here. If you guys want to see more videos about the Xiaomi Mi 9, click or tap right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, go ahead and click right here. And then if you guys want to check out my other channel about living in Vietnam, go ahead and subscribe to that. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.